All right, everybody. Welcome back to, oh boy. All right, forget Restream. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of actually, welcome back to our second episode of The World of Pets. Brought to you by Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting. And Patty, would you like to briefly say a little bit about yourself and kind of to get the ball going here?
Well, thank you, Emily. Yes, so my name is Patty Ernest. I am owner manager of Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting LLC here in the Phoenix area, and I have been pet sitting for over 25 years. I am insured and fingerprinted to go into your home and make sure that your kids and your home are as if you were there.
All right, so Kurt, do you have anything you'd like to add? Well, I finished getting this started.
Sure. Yeah, we're pleased to be here with Patty and the services through Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting, and a great opportunity to round out our programming here at the World of Ability Podcast Network. And so this is a great addition, to reach people around the world and ask the question, who do you know in Phoenix? And it's who do you know in Phoenix, Arizona, because that is where Patty's service area is. So she is offering your services at a very reasonable rate within a reasonable commute from around Phoenix, and anything else extraordinary might get that pricing a little bit more extraordinary. But within the Phoenix area, Patty provides services at a very economical cost, and so a very good consideration when you're in need of having your pet taken care of. And we talked in our past show about that ancillary benefit of Patty's very open, very service minded to say if there's a thing or two around the house that could use a little checking on, she's happy to be of service in that way too. So service with a smile with Patty Ernest. And Emily here, I know I have a pet. My pet is Minnie, and Emily's always there, hyper focused on pets. Like, how's Minnie doing? Say hi to Minnie, bye to Minnie. How's our Minnie today? What's Minnie doing? How is Minnie while you're gone? And Minnie this, Minnie that, Minnie all that. So Emily, you're a big, pet lover, and on your Facebook profile, there's a picture of you with the dog on there. So there's some pet in your life that you're used to being with. Emily, tell us your story, your journey with pets.
Growing up, I had for a little while, I had a black and white spotted rabbit. And then a little bit later, I had a dog that was kind of a mix between, I believe, a Schnauzer and something else. But then I also so those are my biggest things with pets. But then there was always checking after other pets and that kind of thing. But I only had two real pets of my own. with my rabbit and my puppy growing up. I don't have a pet as of currently, but been some time to maybe have a pet again, by a dog or something at some point, but for the time being, I don't have one for the time being. Does that answer your question, Kurt?
Yes, it does. You threw in about rabbits. It reminds me of growing up. I think I was in middle school or something at that point. My family had a couple rabbits. I don't even remember the story of how we got to that point that we brought 2 rabbits to our property, but we had an outdoor coop. I want to call it a coop. I don't know what you call it for rabbits, but it's
Hutch.
a hutch.
I think so.
Yeah, this qualifies as a hutch, so it's got like that wire netting on the bottom so that they can just poop and their poop just drops through, and feeding area and the water canister and everything, and like a flip up top. My dad made this thing, and we had 2 rabbits, Mugsy and Bugsy, and so we had those rabbits for quite some time, and then it got to a time where it was time for the end of their life, and so my dad executed them, and then we had what do we call it? I want to call it Harnsfager? No, is that what it's called? Hassenpfeffer soup or Hassenpfeffer stew or something like that. So that was an experience I had eating my pet rabbits. So that was different. So did you ever do that, Emily? Did you ever eat your rabbit? No. so I
No,
lived a
I
different
didn't.
lifestyle. So what do you think of that, Patty? Is that bad practice to eat your pet?
I'm a
Pet rabbit?
vegetarian.
What's that?
I'm a vegetarian. I've raised four bunnies along the way, and none of them ended up on the supper table.
There you go. That's good life practice. So Patty, tell us the story. You know, you just said you're vegetarian, you're not vegan.
Well, with one exception, and that is about salmon. And with my husband having been as sick as he was, salmon is so heart healthy. I make an exception for that. I know I shouldn't, but I do.
Okay. So you're saying in terms of other seafoods and whatever, you don't practice, having seafood. So like salmon's your exception in the seafood category.
Rarely do I do anything more than salmon.
So give us a little bit more of the backdrop to that, Patty. To be basically vegan, salmon's the exception. You're for sure vegetarian, whatever. What brought that on in your life? Where did you learn that from? Are your parents always that way, or how did that work out?
My parents were not that way, Kurt. In my 20s, I came across a Boston Globe article called "They Shoot Horses, Don't They?" And in that article, it describes how the Westerns actually killed horses along the way. And it opened my eyes. I was not up to that point into animals the way that I am now. But it opened my eyes as to what was actually going on. And over a course of time that I became a pet sitter and learned to care about animals and learned not to eat them. And there's a saying, love animals, don't eat them.
What do you think of that, Emily? You think that's a good premise?
Yes.
So, but you eat tacos and you have taco.
I'm not a total vegetarian though. I do Eat meat on occasion.
On occasion, you eat meat daily. What are you talking?
Not as of late on tacos.
Oh, you've just been having the chips and the cheese and the lettuce and the tomato, and you've been having the vegetarian style of tacos?
Yes.
Oh, wow, very good. You see this, Patty? Have you been influencing her? This is new stuff.
Boy, I sure hope so.
Right. Right. So here we go. Breakthroughs. Otherwise, Patty would be happy to hear that she has a slice of bread with peanut butter on it. So
Hey, I had a burrito a little while ago.
nice. Vegetarian burrito, or did you have meat on it this time?
Yeah, so it's a vegetarian one.
Very nice. See, we were talking about diet earlier today, Patty. Our friend Jennifer has a Jaws, Jennifer A. Whitaker, JAW, Jaws Diet podcast. So we're getting a lot of insights to Emily's diet and seeing if we can stretch her and have her make some diet alterations. So maybe we'll continue that journey right here at the World of Pets. What do you think of that, Emily?
I don't know about that, but okay. But Patty, I guess one or two questions that I had. I know that you have your 3 pets. How did it come about of getting those 3? You have a dog and a couple of cats.
Mhm,
I
yes,
think, right?
she has, yes, correct.
How did they end up with you? Like, how did you get them?
Well, first I'd like to say that I have raised and helped to raise more pets, more fur babies than most people have grandchildren. And the 2 kitties, one of them was found in a snowstorm eating garbage out of the back of my husband's truck. And I set up a station for her and brought her in. And about a year later, right around Halloween, she's all black and she won't really communicate with anybody but me. And about a year later, this man comes walking up the driveway with his son and says, "Can I have my cat back? This is right around Halloween, black cat." And I'm like, "Who's your cat?" And he started to describe, and I'm like, "No, you're not getting her back, especially not now. She is mine. She's been very well taken care of." And then my other kitty cat, Ina, is black and white, and she came from the shelter. I knew her as an infant, and so she wasn't getting adopted otherwise, and I love her dearly. She's an attention hound. She wants constant attention. And as far as my doggie, Daisy, Daisy, I was told was a hound mix, more like a Rottie mix. And she had an interesting life too, from the same neighborhood. She belonged originally to the people next door, except that the wife ended up in jail, and the husband ended up. He was more interested in his toys and then in saving the house, and he ended up back with his parents. And Daisy was eating leftover cat food when I first met her. And so the wife gets out of jail, and after my husband passed, she came over to the house and she said, "Well, can I have my dog back?" I'm like, "Who's your dog?" And she pointed to Daisy, and I'm like, well, let's talk about this. She has a good life. She has food and water. She's got her shot. She is well taken care of. And so the woman called the police, and the police called me, and I said, well, how would you like it? And I explained the difference between the way she was taking care of her and the way that she was being taken care of at that time. And the police said, that's what we thought. I tell you what, if she comes up the driveway again, then have her, then call us and make sure and ask her to leave your property. So with both cases of the two kids, two fur babies that were previously neglected, they now have a really good home in terms of the care that they receive. So that's how all three of them got adopted. And I've rescued more, I've helped to adopt and rescue more kids. There was an adopt-a-thon this weekend. It went very well. It was very successful at the All Saints Episcopal Church. A lot of kids got adopted this weekend, and I was very glad to see it.
So were those the original names that they had when you got them, like Daisy?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
did you name them that?
The only one that I ever named was Magic. Out of all the kids that I've ever, well, no, I named Lucky too. But yes, Magic is one of the few kids that I ever named.
Do you have any questions, Kurt?
Yeah, so Patty, with your life of pets and animals, respecting animals, saying, about we were talking earlier about not eating our animals, the value of a vegan diet, liking our vegetarian practices, whatever. And you're in this business to do, pet sitting. Have you gotten into like any exotic animals, like snakes, or are we talking pets like rats, or like hamsters, or kind of what is the realm of pets that you've seen? Fish in the fish tank? Have you been feeding fish? What's the extent of it all for you?
So I have taken care of all of the above. I have taken care of dogs, cats, bunnies. I've taken care of gerbils, hamsters. I took care of the oldest living horse in that area in Central Florida. He lived to be over 30. I have taken care of chinchillas. I have taken care of chickens, turtles, and fish, of course, both saltwater and freshwater fish, turtles, you name it. And as you're aware, one of my taglines is everyone but snakes, Gila monsters, and unruly husbands. So that rules you out, Kurt. I cannot take care of you.
Okay, all right. I will seek out other options. Thanks for letting me know. All right, Emily, where do you want to go from here? What's next, Emily?
I have a question. Just a sec.
It's like we're playing Jeopardy, right?
You mentioned something about Sonar. You want to explain who Sonar is and like his story?
Absolutely. Thank you, Emily. So Sonar was the first kid that I ever took care of professionally. And he was a mixture of a golden retriever and Irish setter mix. He was also a hearing guide dog. His mom worked for the Space Center, and she was not able to bring him because of the commute. She was not able to bring him to work. So I would go over every day and I would take care of him at lunchtime. I'd spend as much time as I possibly could with him, which was over a half an hour. For a drop-in visit, it was over a half an hour, and it was Monday through Friday. And I would spend as much time and take him for a walk and play with him and whatever else I could do. There was a fire that broke out across the street one day, and when I got over there, I saw the fire and everything, and I talked with the officials, and I said, what's going on with this, and am I going to be okay to leave him, or should I bring him with me? And they reassured me at the time that he was okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's under control. And I was working a second job at the time, and I got back to the office, and one of my coworkers said, she was also a friend, said to me, Patty, what are you doing here? And I said, well, what do you mean what I'm doing here? I'm working here. She said, no, we just heard the bulletin. And I said, well, they cleaned everything up. I spoke with the officials. No, they have not. There was a bulletin that just hit. And I tried to reach my supervisors. They were all in meetings. And I went back to where Sonar was. I walked a few miles to get to him and had to park the car down the street and walked. And I get over there, and the fire officials are like, you can't go up there. Now, I'm going to use some language right now that I don't ordinarily use a whole lot of, but I looked at them and I said, the hell I'm not. Just to express the seriousness of my words, I said, there's a hearing guide dog up there, and I need to be able to go up there and get him out and bring him to safety. I said, now here are the choices. Either you can escort me up there, or I'll go up and get him and you can watch. So they watched me go up and get Sonar, and they were able to get me a ride back. Sonar and I a ride back to where the car was. I called his mom to let her know what was going on. And I also called my bosses, my supervisors, and said, I can't be coming back this afternoon. I was told that I was fired. Now, it's very difficult when you do something professionally and passionately to take on like a second thing, which is what I attempted to do. So, it's something that I've lived with. It was a choice I made, and I thought it was well-founded. His mom was very happy when she got back that Sonar was there to greet her. And so that was a learning experience. He was the first dog I took care of professionally.
So yeah, Sonar sounds like a very lucky puppy.
Well, thank you.
Do you have anything, Kurt? Thank you.
Nope, I've got nothing. Back to you. I'm not just kidding. I just like to do that, folks. That's the little moment we call OMG EMG for Emily Goldman. So let's see here. For whatever reason, I got to thinking right now about our friend JR with the Veterans Ranch, with equine therapy and with horses and so forth. Have you ever run into that? I think with a lot of the pets we're talking about, we're talking, I'm thinking primarily, like I mentioned, rabbits where we had them outdoors. Kind of, how has that been for you, Patty? Has there been a good mix of outdoor pets versus indoor pets, or is it pretty much 99 out of 100 pets are indoors? How does that work? What are people doing with their pets, whether they're in or out?
So I ordinarily take care of indoor pets. It is rare for me to take care of a cat that is outside. If so, I have people sign their lives away because I don't want to be held responsible. I do my best to encourage them to leave them in at least during the time that I'm watching them. I recently had a cat bring me some kind of a bug, and it turned into a mess. So I don't like to have them outside any more than possible while I'm watching them, because I take care of them, because I want to know that that since I'm responsible for them, that they're going to be okay during the time that I'm taking care of them. So ordinarily they're left inside, Kurt. And by the way, folks, those of you who do not know Kurt Roscoff, you have to know the funny bone that he has. If you take this man too seriously, you will feel threatened. Okay. Okay, I've said it, Kurt. Go ahead. Yeah, I also need to hear what he's done previously. Kurt previously was involved in response work, and there's no response work that can happen without having a sense of humor. You've got to be able to keep the humor in what you do, because the work is so serious, as it does get to be with pet sitting at times as well. Sorry, Emily, but I just had to add that about our friend Kurt.
Have you had any favorite pets that you've taken care of, or do you have a favorite and a least favorite pet sitting thing that you've done?
All of them. And by the way, Kurt, in addition to what you were saying before, I have taken care of rats, mice, and skunks. I took care of a descented skunk before. I love taking care of them. I'm very passionate about what I do, and they're all my favorites. And people will start naming. Well, I have a Chihuahua. Well, I love that breed. I have a Shih Tzu. I love that breed. I have a Doodle. Oh yeah, man, bring them on. And kitty cats. So you name them, I love them. Now, one that is a challenge for me is I had a call today. Somebody was looking for me to take care of their energetic, high-strung lab shepherd mix that needs to go down 2 flights of stairs from an apartment. It's not the apartment I mind. If they were on the first floor, it wouldn't be an issue. They're on the second floor. That's a challenge to me. That's something that I ordinarily don't take on. I'm helping her find another sitter who can take that on. It's something more than I'm actually able to work with. But as far as the dog is concerned, no problem there. Just very high strung. And loves to run, loves to tug, loves to jump up. And I love it when people tell me about this ahead of time, so I know exactly what I will be getting into. Again, trying to find another sitter that will help her.
I'm sure there are probably quite a few, but what's one of your most memorable pets that you have taken care of?
Well, Stoner is one of them for sure.
Oh,
Another one is the horse that I mentioned before, Bandit. He also was, there was a fire that broke out across the street from where he lived as well. And Dave and I spent the better part of the afternoon and into the evening making sure that the fire didn't jump the road. And if it did, we were instructed to put him in a trailer and have somebody bring him out from the area. So Bandit definitely was very memorable too. They're all memorable in their own way. But you know, when there's a natural thing going on, it just gets that much more attention. Of course, those are rare instances. Most of the time, stuff like that doesn't happen. But it's good to know there's somebody there that can help out as needed. And then also to help out with the homes as well. So
Yeah, what's with those fires?
yeah, well, they happen. Stuff happens.
Yeah, I know, I was just saying that. Garrett, any thing, or if we're gonna keep going, or if we gonna end, or what? How long are we going tonight?
Are you directing that at me, Emily?
Or, well, I mean, do you have anything else to, anything you want to add?
Well, certainly. I think in these initial episodes, we have the opportunity to lay the groundwork of, you know, what people are experiencing, what they're witnessing, what they're hearing, you know, kind of, you know, why we're doing the World of Pets podcast live streaming, and, you know, with Patty here, and, you know, how we got connected, you know, we're heavily involved with the Happy Neighborhood Project. And so Patty's been at many Happy Neighborhood Project events. We've enjoyed our Pata Pata with our DJ Cho, our Chief Happiness Officer, Edwin Edeberry. We've had Patty singing to us at many Happy Neighborhood Project events. And then we've been able to branch off and experience other things together. We've had Patty at some of our 12 o'clock shakedown events, 15 minutes of music and motion with a little social time after with friends, you know, like Doug, and, you know, with Mark and Chris and Helene. And so we got a crew going there. Emily's leading that, you know, once in a while to back up my wife, Sue, who otherwise leads that. But Emily's got live stream video of that on Facebook Live through the 12 o'clock shakedown page. And you know, and Patty's gotten us connected into a couple of events so far by a gentleman by the name of Jonathan England. Is it? Do I have his right last name? Jonathan England. So yeah, it's what?
Awakened Life Live.
Yeah, that's what we're on. Yes.
Yes.
Is that what the last event was too? That we're at? All right, so we've been.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been on a couple of those so far. So wonderful programming. So you know, so again, World of Pets strikes me, you know, in terms of what Patty has offered into, you know, a lot of response to news and so forth. When we talk about disruptions, you know, out in the Eastern world, and, you know, kind of the humanitarian look at, you know, humans, you know, Patty is like, let's look at that, you know, humane response for the animals that are being affected when there is crisis and war and conflict and all these things, the collateral damage, you know, across the animal kingdom when, you know, these governments tend to strike up against each other and, you know, get the militia going and stuff like that. So, you know, so yeah, definitely, you know, an important look. And when we're looking in the business community, like at the Happy Neighborhood Project, we have H&P Pet Lovers that we have every Tuesday with Alan Reisman as the captain for that one. So, you know, that's enjoyable because we have on there, we have entrepreneurs, or people networking, bringing their pets, into the meeting, so this is a happy business networking meeting, and, people are presenting that. So there's a lot to be said. And so Emily and I are doing a lot of work with the Disability Channel. We have the World of Ability podcast and Ability MK Now out of Milwaukee with River West Radio. Patty's been on with us, before with these shows elsewhere. And so that's kind of what's given inspiration to say maybe it's time to grow together and work together and have this collaboration, World of Pets, and see where it goes. And we are welcoming guests, to come on, right, Patty? Like, if people want to come in, join the conversation. Like I mentioned, JR from the Veterans Ranch, Emily, can you make that happen? Are you going to have a Monday night in the future, Emily, in 2023, maybe, where JR comes on here and we learn all about his equine therapy?
Yeah, I'll reach out to him and hopefully sometime in the future able to get him on here. I know he's really busy, but hopefully there'll be some time soon that he'd be able to come on and talk about his horses and everything else that he does. Among other people, hoping from the pet lovers meeting and anybody else who wants to join us as well. And everybody is welcome to bring their pets or their pets on camera, anything and the like. So anyway.
I would show you my pets, but they're sound asleep. They're so relaxed knowing where mom is.
Are we putting them to sleep?
They're so relaxed.
Oh, that's good. I don't need I don't need a well, right here. Glad that they're relaxed.
Always good to relax, just that's what we're doing right here at the World of Pets. We're just relaxing on a Monday evening and just kind of, imbibing in friendship and camaraderie and the compassion that we have for each other. And, I mentioned about the Disability Channel, Ability MK Now, World of Ability, and all this coming from disability advocacy. And so to kind of take this a little bit beyond pets per se is, there's the practice of comfort animals and guide dogs and, service animals and stuff like this. What's your background with all of that side of life, Patty? Do you have a lot of adventures with, animals being put to work?
So I have, along with taking care of Sonar, I also took care of a home that was training service dogs. And so that was pretty interesting to see that they knew how to open the refrigerator and so forth. So I went along with the training with them while the mom was out of town. I taken in the past, I've taken a CPR course, a first aid course. That's going back a while, but I've done that as well. But so that's my experience with working with the service dogs, and have a lot of respect for what they do.
Didn't you say Sonar was
Yeah.
Some kind of service dog?
A hearing guide dog.
Yeah.
Yes. So are there other questions that you might have of my service?
So how long have you had your three?
Daisy is about 7-ish. I knew when she was 2. She's probably about the same age. Magic, no idea how old she is because she was adopted as a rescue. So, but she was really young when I got her. Yeah, I've adopted young, I've adopted old, and everything in between. So, yeah, I've taken care of a lot of seniors, and they love their attention too.
Yeah, they do.
So, Kurt, what else would you like to ask?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of relocation. Have you found, much spurring from that people are maybe moving from one corner of the Phoenix area to another, just, finding a new home? I mean, you've done that yourself, right? Relocation. And, I'm thinking that during the relocation process that, maybe, somebody might benefit from help, but when they're relocating, it would be a little unusual about, kind of how the pets are situated. Kind of how does that fit into it? Like you have a few pets and then you relocate, do families with pets just kind of take their pets through the relocation process and just have them free to be whatever as they're carrying boxes back and forth? Is it a thing to have a pet sitter to help with relocation, or is that not really a thing?
Yeah, I haven't experienced a whole lot of that, but the idea is to keep the pets in the families, to keep the families together. The sad part of it is when people decide that, the pet isn't going to fit in. The fortunate ones are the ones whose families understand that it's from beginning to end, and that they will continue to take care of them no matter what the circumstances. What else would you like to know about? Let's see, what other kids have I taken care of? I have taken care of, well, I mentioned about the skunk that was descented. I have taken care of a chipmunk before, squirrel before. I have taken care of sugar gliders. I have taken care of, what else? Just a wide variety. I've had people who have had ponds for their turtles. I've taken care of chickens. I've taken care of, I took care of a chicken farm where they were being, they were farmed as pets. I have taken care of, what else have I taken care of? You name it, everyone but snakes. And you, Kurt.
Are you calling me a snake? What's going on?
No, I'm calling you the unruly husband.
Oh, is that what it is? Unruly. Okay. All right, Emily, what's next in this Your World of Pets podcast? Emily, let's liven it up. This is a show. Are you falling asleep on us, Emily? Let's wake up. Let's do World of Pets.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if I have any other questions. Not sure I have any other questions at the moment.
Well, you're going to be getting a test, Emily. We're going to have an examination to see how much Emily Gomer knows about pets and pet sitting and the business of being a pet sitter and, you know, kind of all the nuances, all these pets that Patty talked about. You know, Patty's got us on the farming side of things. Patty, what is your history with animal farming? Any of that in history of family or friends? Have you spent much time? Have you ever milked a cow or anything exciting like that?
Not milked a cow, but I've been able to help some Nubian goats that were seeing their furrier, and up until the time that I took care of them, the furrier had a lot of difficulty getting through to them, being able to contain them. And as a result of my work, that he commented about how much easier that had become. Nubian goats are taking care of donkeys, and some horses at an equestrian farm, similar to what JR does. Where there was a ranch where people who were having life difficulties were able to come out and spend some time with the horses, and the difference that makes, and being able to to be able to move forward. So the animals definitely have lessons to teach, and that's part of it. So yeah, I've taken care of donkeys and goats and all kinds of horses before. So I would have liked to. I'm the person who would have liked to have met Mr. Ed. I would have cleaned up after Mr. Ed on stage. That would have been an interesting venture. Along with, we've talked some about, the pets and everything. What also may be of interest is not only, with the pets being as what they need, but also with the houses themselves. I have been there when smoke detector went off, where the fire department had to come in and shut it off because it was in a cathedral ceiling, and there was no way that I could reach it, not even with a ladder. And had to monitor, when the fire department came in to shut it off. I have been there when hot water heaters burst, where I've had to make sure that the water was contained, that I was able to shut off the valves. I've been there when when the smoke detectors or the alarm systems have malfunctioned, where I was met with the police so that they could shut them off. So not only is it a matter of taking care of the animals, as important as that is, but also in taking care of the homes. And this is a feature that, if you bring your kids somewhere, you don't see that feature. You can maybe have a camera on, but unless you have somebody in mind, what are you going to do when something happens? I always ask information during the interviews as to how things should be handled when there's a malfunction of some kind. But I am there the entire time until the situation gets straightened out. And that's a good thing about having somebody come into the home, having me come into the home, is knowing that these things will be handled no matter what the circumstance.
Yeah, because we don't need the situation to be made worse or anything like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And, as Kurt brings out, the humor, being able to maintain a balance during all this so that, I don't get panicked when it happens, and the situation, doesn't get straightened out. I've got to make sure as much as possible that I can remain calm during situations that may occur. They don't happen too often, but it's good to know that there's somebody there in case they do happen. And you don't see that with bringing them, somewhere outside the home. that's something that, having somebody come into the home, such as myself, where that comes in so handy. And, and I'm not working a second or third job outside, where I may or may not be aware of what's going on. I'm ever present in the home. I'm there from beginning to end. I'm there from the time, a lot of times, most of the time, from when the people leave until they get back. I had a situation happen a while ago where the flight that was due in around 10, 11 o'clock, they had a malfunction, and the plane was rerouted to New Mexico. And I actually was able to stay with the kids until they got home. I actually spent the night there. That's something that, they didn't want to have to wake up the next day and on top of the flight being delayed, have to worry about going over and getting the kids out. They were actually there when they got back. So that's an important part of what I do as well.
Yeah, because some things you don't always think of. And think of everything if you're going away for like several days, and yeah.
Correct. People are, they tell me that they never thought of. No, I ask them where the main water valve is. I'll ask them, are the circuit breakers labeled, and if so, where are they located? These are important questions to ask. They protect the home, they protect the pets, they protect everybody involved.
Any questions, Karen? Comments?
You're reaching for content here, Emily. A way to wrap this thing up, hey? So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode when Emily Gallmer comes back with the 20 questions for the next week's hour of podcasting, and you're gonna see Emily just do some razzle dazzle and finagling like you've never seen in podcasting before. And we're going to get into some good storytelling again next week. So we're here every Monday, again, every 7 o'clock on the Mountain Time Zone, at 8 o'clock on our Central clock. And so we are glad that we are rocking and rolling with this whopping podcast, WOP, the World of Pets, the whopping podcast right here at the World of Ability podcast. So Emily's making it happen, and wouldn't be possible without the services of Patty Ernest and the Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting. Good stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, the best is yet to come in the weeks to come. We still have a few weeks left here in December. We're going to make it a December to remember. And again, Emily always likes to give those credits and thanks out to everybody that makes it possible on the network side of it. So Emily, want to go through the PSA on who helps us do it this way?
Okay, so special thanks to Marcus Hart of Transform You Media, and Jay Stoyan of the Disability Channel, and Zach Clayton of the PAC Channel, and allowing us to have the show on their platforms. I would also encourage everybody to go to our social media pages and like, share, comment, interact with those as well. If you are interested in being on the show with us, you can get a hold of me at either Emily Gallmer at iCloud.com EMILIGOLLMER at iCloud.com. 715-303-9835. Or Kurt, you want to give your information?
Oh, come on, Emily. Boy, we're gonna have to rewrite your contract. You were here to do the PSAs, but here it is. 262-372-1SKI. That's 262-372-1754. Check out that ability MKE now at gmail.com email address from the radio show. And in terms of right over here at the Disability Channel, you can contact me, KURT Kurt, at the Disability Channel.us. We are in the US after all, but visit that website up for our headquarters. It's founded and operated out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And so it's got that .ca on there. So the Disability Channel.ca. And then you can also contact me on WhatsApp, +1 414 514 0186. WhatsApp, what's going on? What's going on by you, Emily? What are we doing now? Is there an after party? What's going on at 9:15 Central, 8:15 Mountain Time?
Guys, we're here every Monday. Like to say, have everybody be healthy and stay happy.